We've been making a bunch of videos about rejection lately. Yesterday was a commentary about Montreal Canadiens prospect and young forward Ivan Demidov, and the rejected trade which prevented him from going over to Chicago. That was a crazy situation that didn't even involve the Montreal Canadiens. The only reason it does involve them now is because they took Demidov in the draft. But there was an opportunity for the Montreal Canadiens to not have the opportunity to draft Demidov. And now that I'm thinking about it, I just said there was an opportunity for the Habs to not have an opportunity to draft Demidov. Yeah, that's kind of stupid English, but that's exactly what happened here. We are making yet another video about rejection revolving around the Montreal Canadiens because this right here might just be the ultimate testament as to what the Canadiens are building and the quality human beings that the Habs have in their organization. Earlier yesterday, there was an article published by Arthur Staple on The Athletic. It was tweeted out by Pierre LeBrun, and it talks about the New York Islanders GM search. Within the article, you get this information, as tweeted out by Marco D'Amico. Arthur Staples reports that if Jeff Gorton was available, because both he and the Canadiens have refused to talk to interested teams, he would have been the Islanders' top candidate for the role of president and GM. Some big praise for the Montreal Canadiens EVP. That's right, baby. The executive vice president of the Montreal Canadiens was not only asked by the New York Islanders to get an interview done, but he also was, in the Islanders' minds, their number one candidate for both the president and GM role. Just think about that. First and foremost here, the Islanders are in a really good spot. They had their All-Star game taken away. Fans are upset. Within 24 hours, they end up winning the first overall pick in the draft lottery. Fans are happy again. And this all comes after the Lou Lamoriello departure, which, look, I think a lot of people thought was inevitable. The guy's in his 80s already, and there wasn't really any indication that some sort of a rebuild or something like that could have ever been even pondered by the man himself. But with Lou Lamoriello's departure, there was a change in direction that a lot of fans started to feel the team should go down. Hey, now it's time to trade Dobson. Now it's time to trade Bo. Now it's time to trade Barzal. We already traded Brock Nelson. This is the time to go on a rebuild. Because we can bring in a head coach. We can bring in a president. We can bring in a GM. All these guys don't have to be 80 plus. Okay, Patty Waugh's not 80 plus, but still you get what I mean. There's a change in identity with the Islanders now. And with this team winning the first overall pick and getting Matthew Schaefer at the 2025 NHL Draft, things can turn around even quicker than we had expected. Who knew that the first overall pick would go to a team that was projected to drafting 10th overall? They moved up 10 spots. That is ridiculous. But to hear now that New York, the Islanders, not the Rangers, the Islanders, did indeed ask Montreal, hey, Jeff Gorton, is that guy available? We have an open spot in our GM position. We want to get him. Is he an option for you? And the Habs said no. Sorry, he's not there. Not only that, but Jeff Gorton himself also did not want to talk to any other interested team. It was both of these guys. The party of the Canadiens and Jeff Gorton himself, both of these entities refused to allow Jeff Gorton to converse with other teams, and that means a heck of a lot. You can say, oh, at face value, it's not that big of a deal. You're like, they wanted him and he didn't want to go to them. He just stayed where he is. That's fine, right? But think about it like this. You have the opportunity to go from one team in Montreal that I think a lot of people know and love, and there's a lot of great things about Montreal. You have a chance to go to a team drafting first overall, and that is on the very start of a brand new era after Lou Lamoriello's departure. There's a chance to do everything and more as the president and GM of this hockey team. And Jeff Gorton was like, yeah, no, sorry fam, I'm not interested. I want to stay here. Does that not signify just the caliber of personnel that Jeff Gorton is, firstly, that the Islanders already had him as their number one, and they didn't even get an interview done with him. Had they done it, then they would have been able to proceed with that. And now you're seeing, like, hey, this speaks volumes to Jeff Gorton and his desire to continue building with Montreal. How there is a vision that was already executed with a first overall pick in 2022, how Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes have been on this train for a while now, and how they had this identity that they wanted to build. They built it through the draft. They acquired these other guys in trades and free agency, and now the Montreal Canadiens are extended on a fast track past their rebuild date because they made the playoffs, and they were not expected to do that. What's the phrase? Meaningful games in March? That's what they wanted the Habs to have. Meaningful games in March. Well, guess what? The Habs had the most meaningful games in March that they have had in a long time, and they ended up making the playoffs and having even more meaningful games in April. This team is in the fast lane. They're in the driver's seat. And Jeff Gorton is saying, yeah, there's an opportunity to go over to New York and do this entire process all over again, except I'm going to be the GM this time. Or I can stick around with Montreal and just continue building what we've built for the past 5 years and a bit. Of course, Jeff Gorton's going to want to stay. He doesn't want to do that entire thing all over again. He's got no reason to say, stop this train. I want to get off and go home again. I can't take the speed it's moving in. No, he's got no reason to say that. And it just speaks to what the Canadiens are building, that if there was that reset opportunity, that redo opportunity, Jeff Gorton's like, yeah, sorry, I want to stay in Montreal. And I think it does help that the prospects and all the young guys and everybody in Montreal seem to be very, very strong as well. New York has a little bit of work to do. Of course, Matty Schaefer is going to be part of that, but still, everything is seeming to align for the Montreal Canadiens in a very positive way, and this is not even talking about Sidney Crosby or John Tavares or any of the other extra names that we can bring up there in regards to Canadiens trade talk and free agency talk. Aside Laine, Primo, and Doc, pretty much everybody else in the Habs had a decent to good NHL season. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky. Sure, Slafkovsky was a little bit cold in parts of the year at the beginning, but he ended up really coming on fire towards the end. Montembeault, yeah, that guy showed off very well. Caulfield, Demidov, oh yeah. Lane Hudson, oh yeah. Alexandre Carrier, oh yeah. There's a really good story being built in Montreal, and Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, it looks like they want to stick around and be a part of this train. No leaving for New York at this time. Sure, it's a new chance and a new opportunity for the Islanders, but Jeff Gorton said no. He just rejected the Isles. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all this info and conversation. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.